The lion cub thought the dog was its mother, but the truth left everyone stunned. The African savanna stretched towards the horizon, a vast expanse of golden grasslands punctuated by acacia trees and the occasional rocky outcrop. The air, thick with the scent of smoke and dry earth, shimmered under the relentless sun. A wildfire had swept through the land, leaving behind a trail of charred vegetation and a silence that was both eerie and unsettling. Aslan, a lion cub barely 6 months old, stumbled through the scorched landscape, his paws leaving faint prints in the ash-covered ground. He was lost, separated from his pride during the chaos of the fire, his small roars echoing unanswered in the vast emptiness. He whimpered, his cries a mixture of fear and confusion, his tiny body trembling with exhaustion and hunger. He had never been alone before, had always been surrounded by the warmth and protection of his mother, the playful companionship of his siblings. Now, he was adrift in a world that had suddenly turned hostile, the familiar scents replaced by the acrid smell of smoke, the comforting sounds of his pride replaced by the crackling of embers, and the mournful cries of birds circling overhead. He stumbled upon a watering hole, its surface shimmering under the harsh sunlight. He lapped at the water, his parched throat finding some relief, but his hunger gnawed at his belly, a constant reminder of his vulnerability. He wandered aimlessly, his small paws carrying him further into the desolate landscape. He climbed a rocky outcrop, his gaze sweeping across the savanna, hoping to catch a glimpse of his pride, a flicker of recognition in the vast expanse. But all he saw was emptiness, a sea of golden grass stretching towards the horizon, broken only by the skeletal remains of burnt trees and the occasional silhouette of a scavenging bird. He let out a mournful roar, his cry a desperate plea for connection, a yearning for the familiar comfort of his family. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of fiery orange and deep purple, Aslan's hope dwindled. He curled up beneath a thorny acacia tree, its branches offering meager protection from the encroaching darkness. He shivered, his small body trembling with cold and fear, his whimpers echoing softly in the stillness. He closed his eyes, his dreams filled with images of his mother's warm fur, his siblings' playful antics, the comforting sounds of his pride's nocturnal symphony. He longed for their presence, their protection, their love. But all he had was the silence, the vast emptiness of the savanna stretching around him, the uncertainty of a future that seemed as bleak and unforgiving as the fire-ravaged landscape. He was alone, a tiny spark of life amidst the ashes, his fate hanging precariously in the balance. The first rays of dawn painted the savanna in hues of gold and rose, casting long shadows that danced across the fire-scarred landscape. Aslan, his small body shivering with the lingering chill of the night, stirred from his restless sleep. He whimpered softly, his cries a faint echo in the vast emptiness. He was hungry, his belly aching with emptiness, his energy depleted by the long night of fear and loneliness. He stumbled to his feet, his paws unsteady on the uneven ground, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of life, any hint of his lost pride. But all he saw was the desolate landscape, the charred remains of trees, the scattered bones of animals that had perished in the fire. He felt a wave of despair wash over him, his small roars a desperate plea for connection, a yearning for the familiar comfort of his family. Just as his hope began to dwindle, a sound caught his attention, the distant rumble of an engine, a mechanical intrusion into the natural symphony of the savanna. He lifted his head, his ears twitching, his eyes searching for the source of the sound. A jeep, its olive-green paint blending with the muted colors of the landscape, emerged from a cloud of dust, its headlights cutting through the morning haze. Aslan, his curiosity piqued, watched as the vehicle approached, its presence a beacon of hope in the desolate expanse. The jeep stopped a short distance away, its engine idling, its occupants surveying the landscape with a practiced eye. John, a seasoned ranger with a weathered face and kind eyes, stepped out of the vehicle, his gaze sweeping across the savanna, his senses alert to the subtle signs of life that often went unnoticed by untrained eyes. He spotted Aslan huddled beneath the acacia tree, his small form barely visible amidst the shadows. He approached cautiously, his footsteps soft on the dry earth, his voice a gentle murmur as he spoke to the cub. "Hello there, little one," he said, his tone soothing and reassuring. "What are you doing all alone out here?" Aslan, his fear momentarily forgotten, looked up at the approaching figure, his eyes wide with curiosity and a flicker of hope. He whimpered softly, his cry a plea for help, a yearning for connection. John, his heart touched by the cub's vulnerability, knelt down, his hand outstretched in a gesture of peace. Aslan, hesitant at first, crept closer, his nose twitching, his senses assessing the unfamiliar scent of this human intruder. He nudged John's hand with his head, his soft fur brushing against the ranger's rough skin. John felt a surge of compassion, a deep empathy for this lost and lonely creature. He gently scooped Aslan into his arms, the cub's small body trembling against his chest. He carried him back to the jeep, his movements gentle and reassuring, his voice a soothing murmur as he spoke to the frightened cub. "Don't worry, little one," he said, his voice filled with kindness. "I'll take care of you. You're safe now." Aslan, nestled in John's arms, felt a sense of security he hadn't experienced since the fire. He closed his eyes, his whimpers subsiding into soft snuffles, his body relaxing into the warmth of the human's embrace. John, his heart filled with a newfound purpose, climbed back into the jeep, Aslan cradled securely in his lap. He started the engine, the vehicle rumbling to life, its wheels churning up the dust as they headed towards the ranger station. A sanctuary nestled amidst the acacia groves, a beacon of hope in the vast wilderness. The ranger station, a cluster of low-slung buildings nestled amidst a grove of acacia trees, offered a welcome respite from the harshness of the savanna. John, carrying Aslan gently in his arms, stepped out of the jeep, the cub's eyes wide with curiosity as he surveyed his new surroundings. The station was a hive of activity, rangers bustling about their duties, their voices a comforting hum of human interaction. John, his face creased with a warm smile, greeted his colleagues, introducing them to his unexpected guest. "This is Aslan," he announced, his voice filled with pride. "I found him wandering alone after the fire." The rangers gathered around, their faces etched with concern and admiration as they examined the small cub. They offered words of comfort and encouragement, their hands gently stroking Aslan's soft fur. John, sensing the cub's growing anxiety amidst the unfamiliar faces, carried him towards his quarters, a small cottage nestled at the edge of the compound. He opened the door, ushering Aslan inside, the cub's eyes widening as he took in the cozy interior. The cottage was a simple affair, its walls adorned with maps and wildlife photographs, its shelves lined with books and field guides. A worn armchair sat beside a crackling fireplace, its cushions invitingly plump. But what caught Aslan's attention most was the large, furry form curled up on a rug near the hearth. Maya, a German shepherd with a coat as black as night and eyes that shone with intelligence and loyalty, lifted her head, her ears perked, her gaze fixed on the newcomer. She rose to her feet, her tail wagging cautiously, her body language a mix of curiosity and guarded welcome. John, sensing the potential for a positive interaction, gently placed Aslan on the floor, his voice a soft encouragement. "Maya, meet Aslan," he said, his tone gentle and reassuring. "He's a little lost and scared. Be nice to him." Maya, her instincts honed by years of companionship with John, approached Aslan slowly, her movements deliberate and non-threatening. She sniffed him cautiously, her tail wagging a bit faster as she recognized the scent of another creature, a fellow inhabitant of the wild. Aslan, his initial fear replaced by curiosity, reached out with a tentative paw, his claws retracted, his touch gentle as he explored Maya's furry form. Maya, responding to his gesture, lowered her head, allowing Aslan to sniff her face, her tail now wagging with enthusiasm. John, his heart warmed by the sight of this unexpected connection, watched as the two animals interacted, their initial hesitation melting away into a playful exchange of sniffs and nudges. He felt a surge of hope for Aslan, a belief that this newfound companionship might offer the cub the comfort and support he so desperately needed. He left the two animals to explore their newfound friendship, their playful growls and gentle nips filling the cottage with a warmth that had been absent since Sarah's passing. He stepped outside, his gaze sweeping across the savannah, his heart filled with a renewed sense of purpose, his spirit lifted by the unexpected bond that had formed within the walls of his humble abode. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity and adjustment for Aslan. The vast, open savannah, with its dangers and uncertainties, was replaced by the relative safety and comfort of the ranger station. He explored his new surroundings with a cautious curiosity, his small paws patting across the wooden floors of John's cottage, his nose twitching at the unfamiliar sense of human habitation. Maya, true to her gentle nature, became Aslan's constant companion and guide. She patiently showed him the ropes, introducing him to the other rangers, the resident chickens that scratched in the dust, and the playful antics of the vervet monkeys that swung through the trees. Aslan, starved of the warmth and affection of his own kind, quickly imprinted on Maya, mistaking her for his mother. He followed her everywhere, his tiny paws struggling to keep up with her long strides. He would mimic her actions, attempting to copy her barks and her playful bows, his clumsy attempts eliciting chuckles from the rangers. He would snuggle up to Maya for warmth and comfort, his small body nestled against her thick fur, his purrs a rumbling counterpoint to her gentle panting. Maya, in turn, seemed to relish her role as surrogate mother, showering Aslan with affection, licking his fur, and gently nudging him with her nose. John, witnessing this unusual bond, was both amused and touched. He had seen many strange things in his years as a ranger, but nothing quite like this interspecies friendship. He watched as Aslan and Maya played together, their joyful antics filling the station with a vibrancy that had been missing since his wife's passing. He documented their interactions, capturing their playful chases, their shared naps in the sun, their tender moments of mutual grooming. He sent the photos and videos to wildlife experts, his colleagues marveling at the unique bond that had formed between the lion cub and the dog. Aslan, under Maya's watchful eye and John's loving care, thrived. He grew stronger and more confident, his roars now a powerful echo of his wild heritage. He learned to climb trees, his claws finding purchase on the rough bark, his agility surprising even the most experienced rangers. He would stalk the chickens, his predatory instincts emerging, but Maya would gently redirect his attention, reminding him that these were not prey but fellow residents of their sanctuary. He would chase butterflies, his playful pounces a testament to his youthful exuberance. He would curl up on John's lap in the evenings, his purrs a rumbling symphony as John read aloud from his favorite books, his voice a soothing balm in the quiet solitude of the cottage. Aslan, the lost cub, had found a new family, an unlikely alliance forged in the heart of the African savanna, a testament to the resilience of nature and the enduring power of connection. Word of the unusual bond between Aslan and Maya spread beyond the confines of the ranger station, carried on the whispers of the wind and the excited chatter of visitors. Tourists, eager to witness this heartwarming spectacle, flocked to the sanctuary, their cameras clicking and whirring as they captured the playful interactions between the lion cub and the dog. John, initially hesitant to expose Aslan to the attention, soon realized the positive impact their story had on the visitors. He saw their faces soften, their eyes widen with wonder, their hearts touched by the sight of these two unlikely companions. He began to incorporate their story into his guided tours, sharing the tale of Aslan's rescue, his bond with Maya, and the lessons they had learned about the interconnectedness of all living things. He spoke of the importance of conservation, the need to protect the delicate balance of the ecosystem, the responsibility that humans had to safeguard the future of the wild. His words resonated with the visitors, their hearts touched by the story of resilience and friendship, their minds open to the wonders of the natural world. They left the sanctuary with a renewed appreciation for the animals that shared their planet, a commitment to support conservation efforts, a desire to make a difference in the world. The story of Aslan and Maya reached beyond the savannah, carried on the airwaves and the internet, their images appearing in newspapers and magazines, their videos shared on social media platforms. Wildlife experts and researchers, intrigued by this unique interspecies bond, expressed their interest in studying the phenomenon. They arrived at the ranger station, their notebooks filled with questions, their cameras ready to document the interactions between the lion cub and the dog. They observed their playful chases, their shared naps in the sun, their tender moments of mutual grooming. They analyzed their behavior, their vocalizations, their body language, hoping to gain insights into the complexities of animal communication, the dynamics of social bonds, the adaptability of creatures in the face of adversity. John, welcoming their expertise, collaborated with the researchers, sharing his observations, answering their questions, providing them with access to the unique bond that had blossomed under his care. He saw an opportunity to contribute to the understanding of animal behavior, to promote conservation efforts, to raise awareness about the importance of protecting the wild. Aslan and Maya, oblivious to the scientific scrutiny, continued their playful antics, their bond deepening with each passing day. They were a symbol of hope, a testament to the resilience of nature, a reminder that even in the harshest of environments, love and friendship could flourish, bridging the gaps between species, creating a harmonious tapestry of life. As the weeks turned into months, Aslan grew rapidly, his playful cub-like antics gradually giving way to the more assertive behaviors of a young lion. His roars, once high-pitched and tentative, now resonated with a deeper, more commanding tone. His playful swats at Maya were replaced by more forceful pounces, his growing strength evident in his every move. He began to challenge Maya's authority, testing the boundaries of their relationship, his instincts urging him to assert his dominance, to establish his place in the social hierarchy. Maya, sensing the shift in his demeanor, responded with a mix of patience and firmness, her maternal instincts tempered by an awareness of his evolving nature. She would gently rebuff his more aggressive advances, her growls a clear warning against overstepping the boundaries of their playful interactions. She would redirect his energy towards more appropriate outlets, engaging him in games of chase, encouraging him to climb trees, channeling his growing strength into activities that honed his natural instincts. John, observing this delicate dance between the lion cub and the dog, recognized the challenges that lay ahead. He knew that Aslan, despite his bond with Maya, was a wild creature, his instincts programmed for a life in the untamed savannah, a world where survival depended on strength, agility, and a keen awareness of the social order. He consulted with the wildlife experts, seeking their guidance on how to best prepare Aslan for his eventual return to the wild. They advised him to gradually introduce Aslan to more lion-like experiences, to expose him to the sights and sounds of his own kind, to awaken the instincts that lay dormant within him. John, with Maya's assistance, began to take Aslan on excursions deeper into the savannah, venturing into territories where lion prides roamed. They would observe the lions from a safe distance, Aslan's eyes widening with fascination as he watched their interactions, their hunts, their social dynamics. He would mimic their roars, his voice echoing through the grasslands, a tentative call to his own kind, a yearning for connection with his true identity. He would stalk imaginary prey, his movements mirroring the stealthy grace of the lions he observed, his instincts awakening with each passing encounter. Maya, ever vigilant, would keep a watchful eye on Aslan, her protective instincts heightened by the presence of other lions. She would gently guide him away from potential danger, her presence a reassuring anchor in the unfamiliar territory. John, his heart filled with a mix of pride and apprehension, witnessed Aslan's transformation, the lion within him slowly emerging, the wild spirit awakening. He knew that the time would come when Aslan would have to leave the sanctuary of the ranger station, to embrace his true nature, to find his place in the vast and untamed savanna. But for now, he cherished the moments they shared, the playful interactions, the quiet companionship, the bond that had defied the boundaries of species, a testament to the resilience of nature and the enduring power of connection. The savanna, once a peaceful haven for Aslan and Maya, was now charged with an undercurrent of tension. A new pride of lions had moved into the territory, their presence disrupting the established order, their roars echoing through the grasslands, a challenge to the existing hierarchy. John, ever vigilant, noticed the change in the atmosphere. He observed the lions from afar, their powerful forms a stark contrast to the gentler presence of the resident animals. He sensed their aggression, their hunger for dominance, their potential threat to the delicate balance of the ecosystem. He increased his patrols, his eyes scanning the horizon, his ears attuned to the sounds of the wild. He cautioned the other rangers, urging them to be vigilant, to protect the vulnerable animals under their care, to maintain a safe distance from the newcomers. Aslan, his instincts attuned to the presence of his own kind, displayed a mix of curiosity and apprehension. He would stand at the edge of the compound, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon, his ears twitching as he listened to the roars of the intruding lions. He would pace restlessly, his body tense, his tail lashing, his inner turmoil reflected in his agitated movements. He would roar in response, his voice a tentative challenge, a yearning for connection mixed with a primal fear of the unknown. Maya, sensing his unease, stayed close by his side, her presence a comforting anchor in the face of uncertainty. She would nuzzle him gently, her soft fur brushing against his, her quiet strength a reassuring presence. John, recognizing the potential danger, kept a watchful eye on Aslan, his protective instincts heightened. He reinforced the fences surrounding the ranger station, ensuring that no unwanted visitors could breach their sanctuary. He consulted with the wildlife experts, seeking their advice on how to manage the situation, how to protect Aslan and the other animals, how to maintain the delicate balance of the ecosystem. They advised him to observe the new pride, to assess their behavior, to intervene only if necessary. The tension mounted as the days passed, the roars of the intruding lions growing louder, their presence a constant reminder of the power struggle unfolding in the wild. Aslan, torn between his loyalty to Maya and John and his instinctive urge to join his own kind, became increasingly agitated. He would spend hours watching the lions from afar, their movements a mesmerizing dance of power and grace, their social interactions a complex tapestry of dominance and submission. He would mimic their roars, his voice growing stronger, his confidence increasing with each passing day. He would challenge Maya more frequently, his playful pounces turning into mock battles, his growing strength testing the boundaries of their relationship. Maya, her patience wearing thin, would respond with firm growls and assertive postures, reminding him of her authority, her role as his protector and guide. John, his heart heavy with the knowledge that Aslan's time at the ranger station was drawing to a close, watched the unfolding drama with a mix of sadness and anticipation. He knew that Aslan's destiny lay in the wild, among his own kind, but he also cherished the bond they had formed, the unlikely friendship that had brought so much joy and meaning into his life. As the sun set on the savanna, casting long shadows across the grasslands, the tension hung heavy in the air, the fate of Aslan and the delicate balance of the ecosystem hanging precariously in the balance. One moonlit night, a chorus of roars shattered the stillness of the savanna, their primal symphony echoing through the acacia groves, sending shivers down the spines of the resident animals. Aslan, his senses heightened, his instincts ignited, stood at the edge of the compound, his gaze fixed on the source of the commotion. The new pride, their silhouettes dark against the moonlit sky, had ventured closer to the ranger station, their presence a bold challenge to the established order, their roars a declaration of their intent to dominate the territory. Aslan, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement, felt a primal urge to respond, to join the chorus of roars, to assert his own presence, to claim his place among his own kind. He paced restlessly, his muscles coiled, his tail lashing, his inner turmoil reflected in his agitated movements. Maya, sensing his agitation, stood beside him, her body tense, her ears perked, her gaze fixed on the approaching lions. She emitted a low growl, a warning rumble that echoed Aslan's own internal conflict. John, awakened by the commotion, rushed out of his cottage, his rifle held firmly in his grasp. He scanned the perimeter, his eyes searching for the source of the disturbance, his heart pounding with a mix of concern and protectiveness. He spotted Aslan and Maya at the edge of the compound, their silhouettes stark against the moonlit backdrop. He approached cautiously, his voice a calm reassurance in the tense atmosphere. "Aslan, Maya, come back inside," he urged, his tone firm but gentle. "It's not safe out here." Aslan hesitated, his gaze torn between the safety of the ranger station and the allure of the wild calls echoing in the distance. He felt a primal pull, an instinctive urge to join the lions, to answer their challenge, to embrace his true nature. Maya, sensing his conflict, nudged him gently with her nose, her eyes pleading with him to heed John's warning, to remain within the sanctuary they had shared for so long. But Aslan, his instincts overriding his loyalty, let out a roar, his voice joining the chorus of the wild, his defiance echoing through the night. He turned and ran towards the sound, his powerful strides carrying him away from the safety of the compound, towards the unknown territory of the intruding lions. John, his heart sinking, watched as Aslan disappeared into the darkness, his small form swallowed by the vast expanse of the savanna. He knew that he couldn't follow, couldn't risk his own safety or interfere with the natural order of the wild. He turned to Maya, her body trembling with a mix of anxiety and protectiveness, her eyes filled with a deep sadness. He knelt beside her, his hand gently stroking her fur, his voice a soft comfort in the face of their shared loss. "He'll be all right, Maya," he reassured her, his voice filled with a hope he wasn't sure he felt. "He's a lion. He belongs out there." Maya whimpered softly, her head resting against John's shoulder, her body seeking solace in his touch. They stood together, their silhouettes bathed in the moonlight, their bond a testament to the enduring power of connection, their hearts heavy with the uncertainty of Aslan's fate. Aslan, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation, raced towards the source of the roars, his senses heightened, his instincts guiding him through the moonlit savanna. The scent of lions, a musky aroma that spoke of power and wildness, filled his nostrils, drawing him closer to his own kind. He emerged from a thicket of acacia trees, his eyes widening as he beheld the sight before him. A pride of lions, their forms magnificent in the moonlight, stood gathered in a clearing, their roars echoing through the night, their presence a challenge to the established order. Aslan, his small form dwarfed by their imposing stature, hesitated at the edge of the clearing, his instincts urging him forward, his apprehension holding him back. He had never encountered other lions besides his own pride, had never experienced the complex social dynamics that governed their interactions. He let out a tentative roar, his voice a mix of challenge and uncertainty, a plea for recognition, a yearning for acceptance. The lions turned towards him, their eyes gleaming in the darkness, their expressions unreadable. A large male lion, his mane a majestic crown, stepped forward, his gaze fixed on Aslan, his body radiating an aura of dominance. He let out a deep roar, a challenge that reverberated through the clearing, a test of Aslan's courage and strength. Aslan, his instincts taking over, responded with a roar of his own, his voice surprisingly strong, his defiance echoing through the night. He stood his ground, his small body tense, his tail lashing, his eyes locked with the dominant males. The other lions watched the exchange with a keen interest, their bodies poised, their senses alert, their instincts attuned to the unfolding power struggle. Aslan, sensing their scrutiny, felt a surge of adrenaline, a primal urge to prove himself, to claim his place among his own kind. The male lion, sensing Aslan's defiance, approached slowly, his movements deliberate, his muscles rippling beneath his tawny coat. Aslan held his ground, his heart pounding, his claws extended, his body ready for the confrontation. Just as the tension reached its peak, a familiar scent wafted through the air, a comforting aroma that spoke of loyalty and protection. Aslan turned his head, his eyes widening in surprise as he saw Maya emerge from the shadows, her form a dark silhouette against the moonlit backdrop. She approached cautiously, her gaze fixed on the lions, her body language a mix of apprehension and determination. She reached Aslan's side, her presence a silent reassurance, her loyalty unwavering. The male lion, sensing the shift in dynamics, paused, his eyes narrowing as he assessed the newcomer. He let out a low growl, a warning rumble that acknowledged Maya's presence, her unexpected intrusion into their territory. Aslan, torn between his instinctive urge to join the pride and his deep affection for Maya, felt a conflict raging within him. He looked at the lions, their powerful forms a stark contrast to Maya's smaller stature, their wildness a stark contrast to her domesticated nature. He looked at Maya, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and encouragement, her presence a reminder of the love and protection she had offered him, the bond they had forged in the sanctuary of the ranger station. He felt a tug-of-war within his heart, his loyalty to Maya battling with his instinctive desire to be among his own kind. He knew that a decision had to be made, a choice that would determine his future, his identity, his place in the intricate tapestry of the wild. The clearing was bathed in an eerie silence, the only sound the soft rustle of leaves and the distant chirping of crickets. The lions, their eyes gleaming in the moonlight, watched the unfolding drama with a primal curiosity, their instincts attuned to the subtle shifts in power dynamics. Aslan, his heart pounding with a mix of conflicting emotions, looked from the imposing male lion to the comforting presence of Maya. He felt a tug-of-war within his soul, the call of the wild battling with the loyalty he felt for the dog who had nurtured him, protected him, and loved him unconditionally. He took a tentative step towards the pride, his muscles tense, his senses heightened. The male lion responded with a low growl, a rumble that vibrated through the clearing, a challenge that demanded a response. Aslan, his instincts urging him forward, prepared to answer the challenge, to assert his place among his own kind. But just as he was about to unleash his own roar, a soft whimper escaped Maya's lips, a sound that pierced through the tension, a plea that resonated deep within his heart. He turned towards her, his eyes meeting hers, the moonlight reflecting in their depths. He saw the love and concern in her gaze, the understanding that transcended the boundaries of species, the acceptance of his true nature. He felt a wave of gratitude wash over him, a deep appreciation for the bond they had shared, and the enduring power of connection. He nuzzled her gently, his rough tongue against her soft fur, a silent thank you for her unwavering devotion. He then turned towards the pride, his gaze meeting the male lions, his roar echoing through the night, a declaration of his identity, his acceptance of his place in the wild. The male lion, acknowledging Aslan's claim, responded with a deep rumble of acceptance, a welcoming gesture that invited him into the fold. Aslan, his heart filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation, stepped forward, joining the ranks of the lions, his silhouette merging with theirs under the starlit sky. Maya watched as Aslan joined the pride, her heart filled with a bittersweet mix of pride and sadness. She knew that this was his destiny, his rightful place in the natural order of the savannah. But she also mourned the loss of their unique bond, the companionship that had brought so much joy and meaning into her life. John, witnessing the scene from a distance, felt a lump forming in his throat. He had known this day would come, had prepared himself for Aslan's departure. but the sight of the lion cub joining the pride, his small form disappearing among the larger figures, stirred a deep emotion within him. He felt a sense of loss, a pang of sadness for the end of an era, the parting of an unlikely friendship. But he also felt a surge of pride, a recognition of Aslan's growth, his acceptance of his true nature, his integration into the wild where he belonged. He watched as the pride moved off into the darkness, their roars fading into the distance, their presence a reminder of the untamed spirit of the savanna, the power and beauty of the natural world. He turned and walked back towards the ranger station, his footsteps heavy with emotion, his heart filled with memories of the lion cub who had touched his life, the dog who had nurtured him, and the bond that had defied the boundaries of species. He knew that Aslan would carry with him the lessons he had learned at the ranger station, the love and compassion he had received from Maya and John, the values that would shape his interactions within the pride, his legacy a testament to the enduring power of connection, the resilience of the natural world, and the surprising bonds that could form across species.